Hey everyone, listen. I know that you know how important it is for you to get your protein daily. However, if you're still struggling with trying to get your protein in on a regular basis, I'm going to share with you my recommendations on how you can make that happen. Listen, as we get older, our muscle mass decreases, our bone density decreases, and that can lead to becoming weaker. That can lead to increased falls. And down the line, that can even lead to a loss of independence. So, what I'm going to share with you today in this video is how you can increase your daily protein intake to what I recommend about zero point 0.7 grams to 1.0 grams of body weight, of protein per body weight in pounds. So let's get started. And here are the recommendations that I have for every woman over 50 in order to increase their protein intake. All right, let's get started. So, my first recommendation is for you to plan ahead. So there's no need for you to meal prep unless you want to, but it is necessary to plan ahead. Think about what you can eat for the next 2 or 3 days. That means that you're going to consider some protein sources that you really enjoy and plan ahead to determine how you can include those protein sources in the upcoming days. So, as you prepare, just think about keeping it simple, right? Sometimes, like the simpler, the better, right? Don't try to create extravagant meals around your protein. Just make it accessible to you. Plan ahead with some simple options that you know you can actually carry out. If you know you have a busy week at work, you want to consider some protein sources that are going to be easy for you to perhaps eat quickly at lunch. So that might look like tuna, or that could look like leftover chicken from the night before. Just again, plan ahead to make sure you have all of your meals created around your protein. And I think that's key. And that's what trips us up sometimes is that we don't plan ahead. Again, you don't necessarily have to prep and have your containers and cook all your meals on Sunday and then put them in containers, but you need to have some kind of idea of where you're going, right? You need to have sort of a map so that you can follow those directions during that week. So, key is planning ahead and keep it simple. All right, my second recommendation, eat breakfast. That's right. Eat breakfast and make sure that when you have your breakfast, you include about 25 to 30 grams of protein in your breakfast. I know it sounds like that might be a lot, but having breakfast and including that much protein in your breakfast daily is a great way to lay the foundation for the day, and it gives you some sense of accomplishment because you started the day with protein. So it's all right also to eat like the same breakfast every morning if you enjoy it and if it makes things easier for you. Remember, we just talked about that from number one, planning ahead, like making things simple. So sometimes with breakfast, we might be rushing in the morning. We may not have that much time, so we need something quick and easy. And for you, that may look like eating the same thing every morning. For example, I have just about the same breakfast every morning, and it takes me to just over 30 grams of protein. So here's what I have for breakfast every morning. I have a serving of yogurt, and that serving of yogurt that I have is about 20 grams of protein. So right there in that serving of yogurt, I have 20 grams of protein. Then I have 2 boiled eggs. The 2 boiled eggs has 12 grams of protein. So again, right there, that takes me up to 32 grams of protein. And then some days, well, actually, most days I have a piece of toast with that, which just adds an additional 4 grams. Now, bread is not a main source of protein, but it does add additional protein, right? So when I have my two main sources, like the yogurt and the eggs, and then I add the bread, that takes me to 36 grams of protein just at breakfast time. And that's how I start my day. And I keep it simple, and I make it easy, and I have that same breakfast just about every day. I also have a piece of fruit, whether it's apple or whether it's nectarine. Those are my two favorites. That's what I have with my breakfast. So again, having breakfast is a key strategy to ensuring that you get your protein in daily, because if you skip if you skip breakfast, then you're skipping an opportunity to have protein. So start every day with breakfast. Make sure you get about 30 grams, if you can, at least 25 to 30 grams of protein in at your breakfast. Keep it simple. All right, my third strategy for you is to think outside the food box. That's right, think outside the food box. We tend to put food like in a box, and you can only eat certain foods during certain times of the day. For breakfast, for example, we have breakfast foods. Well, you can have anything you want for breakfast. I mean, I just shared with you that I probably have a traditional breakfast, right? I probably, yogurt and eggs and toast. That's traditional. But you can have chicken for breakfast. Absolutely. You can even have some shrimp for breakfast if that was left over from your dinner the night before. It's really about thinking outside of that food box and creating meals for yourself that, again, are simple, are accessible, and that have high protein. So when you think inside of a food box, it limits your possibilities, right? You put this limit on the food that you can eat for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner. I mean, you can have eggs for dinner. Why not? When I used to go into work as a principal on a daily basis, I would take chicken for my breakfast. I didn't have time to eat at home, so I would take my breakfast into school, and I would have my leftover chicken from the night before and some sweet potatoes, and guess what? A boiled egg. Like, I would put that together. It sounds weird, but it worked for me. It gave me the protein that I needed. It gave me the nutrition that I needed to start the day. So again, strategy number 3, recommendation number 3 is think outside of the food box. All right, so far we have plan ahead, eat breakfast, think outside the food box. The fourth recommendation I have for you is to simply eat larger portions of protein at each meal. It sounds simple, but we don't tend to eat enough protein at each meal. Here's my recommendation. My recommendation is, at least when it comes to like lean meats and fish and seafood, things like that, aim to include about 3 to 3.5 ounces of that protein at each meal. That gives you about 85 grams to 100 grams of that protein at each meal. If you can aim for that much protein at each meal, that'll give you anywhere between like 20 to 30 grams of protein, because obviously the larger size protein that you eat, protein source that you eat, the more protein it will provide for you. So recommendation number 4 is simply to eat a larger portion of protein at each meal. All right, so my final recommendation is to supplement if needed. Now, your goal is always going to be to eat whole foods, right? You're going to choose foods over supplementation. However, if you do recommendations 1 through 4 and you still haven't reached your protein goal for the day, it is absolutely fine to supplement with a protein powder or a protein drink. These are great ways to boost your protein intake so that you reach your goal. I don't want the protein powder or the protein drink. I don't want it to replace your meals. I want you to have those in addition to your meals. That's why they're called supplements. But again, they're a great way to take you to that level that you want to be at. So for example, if you have 80 grams of protein, you've consumed 80 grams of protein in one day, and let's say it's 7 p.m., right? And you're like, wow, I had 80 grams of protein. That's great. Let's say your target is 100 grams of protein. Well, you typically have a snack at night, let your snack be the protein drink. Go ahead and drink that protein drink, and that will take you to 100 grams of protein. So it's really about, again, supplementing your whole foods that you've eaten during the day so that by the end of the day, you've reached your target protein goal. All right, everyone, those are my 5 recommendations for increasing your daily protein intake. Here they are again, just for reference. Look, please do not underestimate your need for protein. Protein plus strength training, they are 2 important keys to keep us active and strong both now and in the future. So, if you have any questions or comments, please post those questions or comments below this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please do subscribe. I am always talking all things strength, nutrition, and fitness for women over 50. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.